Greetings, survivors. I wonder if the camera is on. I'm trying to get this camera working, but that's just not happening. So unconnect the camera, connect again. Maybe it's gonna work now. Who knows? Well, anyway, I gonna apologize. These days I might release, um, might not be consistent releasing a video every day. It's not that I don't have recordings. I do have recordings. I have more recordings than you're probably ever gonna see for the 5.5 series. Um, Bunch of stuff here. I just went through hard for the first hard night and um, on the uploaded files. Uh, did I get through? Yeah, I got through one blood night. Yeah. It's 14 days between horde nights, so there's a lot of videos recorded, just not edited and not uploaded, and editing is the most important part. So Ravenhearst 552 is being developed. Who knows if it's ever going to see light of the day? I think it will. Alpha 18 is probably going to come out sooner rather than later, in my opinion. I have no internal knowledge, but as a software developer, that's sort of what it feels like to me. Now, whether Alpha 18 comes out or not, it's going to come out first in experimental, and I think that's more than enough reason to release 552 even after Alpha 18 comes out. Um, and one of the things we are working on 552 is trying to get um, a decent random road. Um, we are most likely going to use a modlet by Tin. Um, that is, do I have the modlets here? Yeah. So you're most likely going to use the Twixt Street Layouts modlet, not as a modlet. We're going to bring this into the changes to the file because it does much more interesting cities, and we might use the terrain generation. It's definitely a much more interesting world, a more beautiful world, but it's the terrain is not as flat, so there's going to be less prefabs because there's less places to place prefabs, and it's not going to be as easy to move around. But honestly, I think it has some uh, impressively good results. You can see Jack's posted a couple of pictures here. I actually saw some better pictures in the tester channel, but um, I mean, it looks good. It looks good. From my looking at the map, it looked very good. It's going to have more water. It's going to Alpha 17 has 17.4 has a bridge generation built in, but um, it's uh, uh, it's it's not even working. They had to rename a couple files for it to work. The files are there, but with the wrong name. And um, and on top of that, it seems they are badly rotated, but they made water so rare that it's hardly ever gets triggered. Um, so we're gonna see. But I'm working on something else. I'm working on trying to get decent seats. So and it's been really hard. Gone through dozens of mixer variations and things we have never tried before, and it's hard. For example, in this case here, actually this is the same. It just has a couple of prefabs more. Um, the rules for this are, or were, they were like this: rural, town, or city. And there's three kinds of cities, two kinds of town, and then rural. And household mother one is the rural one. Household mother two and three are towns. Four, five, six are cities. So you can clearly see there's a huge imbalance here. Um, it might seem that rural has more, but actually the chance for these two combined should be the same chance as this and the same chance as this. So this is 33, this is 19, 20, and this is not even one uh, of out of hundreds. Um, so yeah, I've done many experiments, and what I do is I generate seeds randomly. So you see the last run I had, I generated 63 seeds, and then I decided to try something else, so I stopped it. And, and those are 4K seeds, but through the night I was generating AK seeds. I generated 23 seeds, and then I investigated them. Is this the same one? It might have been. Um, so that would be preview cell with towns. The first time I tried, I had can show this to you guys. So cell rules with this mixer here, this AK mixer. Um, I I was using a different thing, names a little bit more cluing what they were. So this barn was rural, abandoned house was town, and you can see it says double the number of rural. Then car lots. Oh, this is the bridge system. I mean, they put one bridge. That's some of all maps. One had one piece of bridge. Settlement traders, you can ignore that. It's the wilderness. Um, I mean, I bet you like 230 settlement traders, and they're all side by side as well. So, but this is on all votes together. But there's 10 settlement traders on each map. And skyscraper, theater, and car lots are cities. So it was more. Um, you could tell what kind of prefab it was by, or what kind of rule it was by the kind of prefab. But then and I didn't have the second town. I only had the first town, and later I noticed that I missed. I didn't have the second town in there. No, this is all 4K. So the 8K was I had switched before that 8K. So yeah, I've went through I went through a lot of different prefabs. Uh, the prefab mixer rules. So the mixer rules we first tried was this one, and this has like everything. Uh, the way to deal with this is to get the prefab groups, but then you have to select one prefab in particular. So sort by unique prefab is going to give me the best seed in terms of, well, it's going to order all maps by the number of unique prefabs it has. So it's going to give me one seed that is particularly better than the other. So this integral brain sickness has 303 unique ones. Um, I can check here the prefab. So I see uh, everything from Pura 1, Town 1. Oh, sorry. This isn't correct because it's reading the current mixer, so it's not valid. But anyway, I'm doing this work so we can get a very good random mixer. And it's hard because you pick a rule like this. Huro has probability 1, town has probability 1, city has probability 1. You would expect to get the same number of Huro hubs as you have town hubs, as you have city hubs. And that's just not the case. Um, Normally, all random mixes I found so far, they didn't play with cell rules. They just had a single cell rule. And uh, that single cell rule then had different hub rules. So um, it would have that old map mentioned had rural and then small town and then medium town and CTA, CTB, CTC and wilderness was default. And what happened was the I would get rural, I would get the towns, but I would get no cities. And then I did something. I created and added seat EDF. That was based on previous experiments, and then I got when I did that, I got um, city ABC to spawn. So cities EDF did not spawn, but adding them made the previous one spawn as well. So it's a bit of a mess. I'm trying to, now I'm going with one set of rural, one set of urban, both of them with 3 hub rules, and see if I can actually get something balanced. And it's not that we want the number of cities to be the same as the number of rural parts or anything like that. We just want everything that we put in to actually have a good chance of spawning, so you can find seeds that have them and have some sort of predictability in the chance of these guys here. Um, as it is right now, I mean, I left those probabilities up there one because uh, it's one, it was there. That's the default, so it was one and default is the same thing. But the original maps had different probabilities for pretty much everything. So if I look at the say newest mixer, this is what it looked like. So 9%, well, not 9%, 0.9 for rural, 0.8 for small town, medium town, 0.7 for each city. But you have to add all that. So zero point 0.7 times 3 is 21. Uh, zero point 0.8 is 16. So cities would actually be more common than towns and that more common than rural, except that we only saw these 3 spawn and these 3 never spawn. So it really doesn't make sense. And then you have max counts, which are used so that you don't get cities with 300 waterworks or cell towers, and you all have seen that. um, and different probabilities. This one doesn't have probabilities, but if I take the old mixer, for example, um, you can see that some prefabs have different probabilities. But I removed all that right now, just trying to get things spawned reliably uh, with a proportion that makes sense according to the rules we have. Now, when I do that, um, so, so I'm in the wrong tab. So, so I have a command here. So this would generate 100 seeds, random seeds at size 4K. Um, to do that, it starts the 7 days to die dedicated server. And while that is running, I cannot do almost anything. This video might even get a little bit weird. Um, so right now, I'm spending time doing that. I'm playing as well because I need to relax. I need to play a little bit, but I'm not spending time doing the video editing that is required to upload videos. And each video I edit has to render for, let's say, an average of 30 minutes. That depends on how long the video is. And I cannot do anything while that is running because it takes all CPU power. So in summation, um, you might see less videos from me in the next few days. I'll try to upload some of them at least. Um, I know I still haven't found the crowbar, even after, I don't know, day 46, 47, yeah, 46, I think. Still don't have a crowbar. I do have a lot of interesting things. I'll probably do same thing I did with 5.5 or 5.4. Uh, record a video showing where I got to, and so you can enjoy that. Switch to 5.5.2. But I'm going to spend a lot of my time trying to get us good maps on Ravenhearst 5.5.2. Speaking of good maps, you can come here on Ravenhearst info. There is seed maps, right? And I post my maps here. Now you see on the extra files, there is a new mixer. There is the 6K mixer as well. Um, the easiest form to install it is in the modlet form. And modlet form basically, let's actually open the mod launcher. It's going to take a little bit because the server is generating the map. So if you go to Ravenhearst, so go to 5.5 final. If you click here, you get in this direction here. So um, you have to add that mod, extract that modlet here. So you download modlet and extract it here. So I have both of them actually are here. You can um, you can put them both in. Once you generate the map, it doesn't matter if it's on or not, right? So uh, if you install it and generate the map, then you can play that map, start new games at that map without having it installed because it just changes the map generation. So I have this one disabled, this one enabled. All of this is on the mod launcher, so you just have to click that to enable disable, and you download the file, extract in that directory just shown, and then yeah, you generate world. It's not gonna get uninstalled by the mod launcher. You can come here on seed maps, and then yeah, I have been posting seeds for everything. So um, uh, the these are all AK. So yeah, you'll find it. There's pinned message. There's also here. So largely Janie at 6K. Well, actually, this is an AK seed with this AK 6K mixer. Um, you can look through the pinned messages, and it's not just me. So there's pinned message from other people as well with many different maps seeds you can look at. Um, all of mine, there is the map, and if you open the original, um, this is actually a very big map that is just compressed at this size. Uh, but if you zoom in, then you have images, preview images for what those prefabs are. So this is probably the Crackbook here. This is the Raven Vista, and then there's one side by side and so forth. So you can check that on my maps. I also put information about number of so for example, this map has two large factories, two factories number one, four factories number two. I don't remember which one is which. The glass factory, insane asylum, the library, etc., etc., etc. So you can find that all of that here, and even the seed I'm playing at. That's the manage alveolus generated with the 6K seed. Um, you can see here the distribution. Uh, it doesn't have the Nuka factory, but it has a lot of other stuff. And this one, I didn't say how many of each. Um, has all the stores. That's one of the things I found it attractive in it. But I don't know how many factories it has. Probably not a lot. It's a 4K seed, but for a 4K seed, it's pretty good. It's actually now curious. I won't be able to tell from here where each one is. It's on one of these lowest part of the map generation. But anyway, I'm renting. I'm renting. Once 552 is out, I will post. Oh, there it is. Oh, this is the desert. Um, I placed this map. Interesting. So this is the actual in-game preview map. It's not as good as mine, honestly. So the preview map, I mean, it's the preview map has the actual modeling of each prefab. So this is what it looks like in game if you were looking from a very high elevation, uh, roughly centered on the map. That's what they look like. Um, I cannot do that, and it would take ages to actually do that. That rendering, probably, maybe not. I honestly don't know. And so I can't tell anything from it. But there's gonna be I'm gonna post the seeds here. I'm gonna post the seeds here. I'm looking at Captain Crunch here. Captain Crunch is making a very good map. That he started using a map generator for 7 Days to Die that is not on 7 Days to Die. It's called let me see here. Nitrogen. So it's nitrogen. You can find it on the internet. Nitrogen 7 Days to Die. He generated the world features like mountains, rivers, etc. on it, and then he went and edited things by hand, like every street, every road, um, cities, biomes. He did everything by hand, and it's getting really good. Unfortunately, he's been ill lately, and it's not quite yet there. Maybe it will be for 552. Anyway, I hope you rather have a very good map on 552 than see videos of mine every day. Um, and well, let me know if you don't. I don't think it's gonna change anything, but uh, if you had some feedback for me, even ideas like, oh, I saw a modlet that does this and that. Why don't you check it out? Uh, they're always welcome. So anyway, um, this is unfortunately all for today. I hope you enjoyed the update. Thank you for watching my channel.